did things the traditional way. So why should school be any different?
Hello everyone! Today we're looking at the 6 best tips and tricks to make you a better player in Fortnite Battle Royale. The amazing thing about these tips is that you don't need to be an amazing shooter or have crazy reaction time to be successful and get those wins. Only an idiot wouldn't consider using these. But before we get to all that, don't miss out on your chance to win a $50 scene card. The odds are pretty good on this one. All you need to do to enter this giveaway is like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me why Fortnite is better than PUBG. And that should not be hard to do. Now enough of the boring free money, let's get to those tips. The first tip I have for you today is don't make unnecessary sound. This especially applies to solo matches. Because, to put it simply, you have 2 senses to detect people, with sight and hearing. Sight is only about 1 to 4 directions at any one time, with obvious restrictions, while hearing is all directions. How many times have you been saved thanks to some moron's footsteps giving you away? Remember, everything you do makes some amount of noise, from jumping up and down to reloading your gun. So it's important to learn exactly how much noise each action makes and when it's safest to do them. Something I would recommend, especially in solo, and you'll probably be surprised at the result of it, makes that much to me. And remember, I like to think about it like this. It's better to be slow and hidden than fast for trying to dodge bullets. The added benefit of this is you'll make less sound and therefore be able to hear your surroundings that much better. And be aware that jumping or falling from even a small ledge can make a ton of noise. Even swapping weapons or reloading can make you detectable to a silent enemy. And remember, as soon as someone starts shooting at you, everyone for a country mile will be looking in your direction. Hitting a job at an enemy gives you an advantage because you don't have to risk losing a lot of health in the fight. And as you get further into the circle in the top 10, you're going to need as much health as possible to absorb some of those bullets. So consider trying it for yourself. Try staying quiet for a match or 2 and see what happens. Maybe you'll get a few of those easy kills where someone wanders into your line of sight and then you get the easy loot and then you continue on to your next kill. The next amazingly helpful tip I want to share with you is to take the high ground in a fight whenever you can. This is a great strategy in an open fire fight. Simply build straight up towards the enemy. Not only does this give you great cover, but also an amazing angle with which to kill the competition. When you do this, try and build at least 2 panels wide to make it a little bit harder to destroy and not too high because if you fall off it, it will hurt. I usually do about 3 panels high. Any higher than that and you risk taking damage when you fall, depending on what exactly is below you. An added benefit of taking the high ground is that you have a great view of your surroundings and other players. The downside is they can also see you. A useful benefit of this is being able to close the distance if you choose to. If you decide you want to use shotguns instead, simply jump or slide down to your enemy at your leisure. They won't have that luxury as it will take them considerable effort to make their way all the way up to you. A great way to get an advantage on someone is to build on top of existing structures. These are much harder to destroy than the panels you craft. And obviously, hills and mountains are great because they are 100% indestructible. And remember, don't build too high or you'll escape the effective range of your weapons. Every weapon has a fairly limited range with the exception of the sniper rifle. And if you're going to build yourself a mega fortress, make sure you have all the ammo and healing you need as you likely won't be able to loot the enemies when you screw up all the time, and that's playing with the right guns for you. Just because you can see players using a blue tactical shotgun just because it's blue, instead of an AR because it's green. If you're not super comfortable with a weapon, use it in small doses until you get better with it. But also use the weapon in a situation that calls for it. Don't use the purple shotgun if the target is across the map. Also, understanding the weapons will make an enormous difference in getting the double.
This place seems empty.
I think everybody leaves after Labor Day.
Is Tamara home?
I think you have the wrong trailer.
What the hell?
W's. For example, a white pump shotgun does more damage than even a purple tactical, but the tactical does more damage per second because its fire rate is a lot higher. This is actually the case for most weapon types. They'll have one weapon that does high damage, but low damage per second, while the other type does lower damage, but has a higher firing rate. And that basically comes down to your confidence with that weapon. If you're confident, use the high damage version. If not, use the one that just fires a lot of bullets, and then spray and pray. Headshots are definitely a factor here, because with the right weapon, a headshot will kill somebody one hit even if they have full health and full shield. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that the quality difference among weapon types usually isn't as big as you think. Most times the weapon damage gap isn't as big as you might think between even the white version and the orange version. That quality difference usually means more accuracy, more consistency, higher firing rate, things to that effect, and that does make a difference, but it's not so much in the damage. So keep that in mind next time you want to get greedy and go for a loot crate. Is it really worth it? For example, if I have a blue bolt action and find an orange bolt action, I might not even pick it up because I don't know if I could tell the difference between the two. But that's definitely not the case for all guns, which is why it's important to know each and every gun. The ARs, for example, have a massive difference between their white quality and their orange quality. So play with each one, learn a little bit about them, figure out which ones work for you, which ones are worth getting greedy for. So educate yourself about those guns and which ones work for you. It's only going to be to your benefit. Tip number 4 is hugely important to your survival, and that's something that idiots will not focus on. That is to learn to be quick at building. You'll notice that the top players turn and build walls almost instantly when fired upon. That's super annoying when you're trying to kill someone and suddenly there's a wall in between you guys. Throwing up a quick wall can turn you from an easy target to a fortified position with the high ground. So long as there is a wall between you and your enemy, you won't die. Sometimes the enemies will just keep firing at your walls, trying to knock them down. Just keep building until they reload or run low on ammo. You can also spread the walls out a little bit and they won't know which wall you're behind, thus giving you the advantage. And that's why I want to put a giant emphasis on having lots of resources. The more walls you have, the safer you're going to be. And consider that there are a lot more resources in the world than bullets. As you're making your way across the map, make sure you have the correct resource type selected, because you might not have time to switch resources if someone starts shooting you. The faster you get that wall up, the better. So definitely give this some practice. As soon as you see those bullets, turn toward them, build a wall as fast as you can. Doesn't matter what it is, what it looks like, get some walls up, you'll be safe, you'll survive. So just build everything, build anything. Build until you're sure you're safe, then reassess and act accordingly. A favorite of mine is quick and simple. Build 2 or 3 walls, add ramps, fortify, take the high ground, enjoy victory. Rinse, repeat. Being quick and efficient with building means you often have control of the situation. Whether you want to make a quick escape or put an enemy at a distance before engaging, you have the advantage, you have the control. But remember, if you're going to build a mega structure or really any structure at all, it's going to get a lot of attention and people are going to be coming your way. Normally, the bigger the structure, the more resources its occupant is presumed to have. So get quick with that building and you can always give yourself the advantage in any situation. Tip number 5 is amazingly important, but often overlooked by your garden variety idiots, and that, of course, is to be aware of that circle. Because it's definitely no fun at all being lost out in a storm, slowly running, slowly taking damage. Luckily, with a game like Fortnite, you can always make it to that next circle with fairly minimal effort as long as you're aware of where it is. So as soon as you hit the ground off that bus, check to see where the circle is so you'll have some idea of how much time you have. Always give yourself a little bit of extra time because things happen. You'll get in a firefight along the way that can eat up a huge amount of time and then everyone's stuck in this storm. Plus, no one ever said that next circle is going to be to your advantage. You might finally make your way out of the storm only to find the circle moving back across the map and you back in the storm taking more damage than ever before. Plus, if you know where the circle is, you also have a pretty good idea of the direction people are facing. Remember the first tip about them only seeing in 1 of 4 directions? Use this to your advantage. If you stick to the higher hills and mountains, you should get some easy kills. People in valley bottoms tend not to look up. But don't forget to look behind you once the blue does pass you, as suddenly you're now very visible to everyone behind you. And someone like me definitely loves to shoot someone out in the blue just to annoy them. Use the circle tactically to give yourself an advantage. Make your way just inside the new circle, build final circles, because the player with the fortress inside the circle basically just has to shoot the other guy. Once you're familiar with the map, you'll start to learn the most used routes by players, so you know where to ambush them, what direction they're heading from, and maybe most importantly, where they're coming from. So pay attention to that stupid circle, especially in 50 versus 50 mode. Abandon your whole team of 50, they love to sit outside of the circle for some reason. Abandon them, move on, you'll thank yourself for it. The last tip I want to share with you is to simply practice. It's really the only way to actually get better. Sure, you can watch tips videos all day and educate yourself, but only by taking this knowledge and using it in-game will it truly be of benefit to you. Remember, the smarter player is the better player, but practice that shooting, it's important too. But absolutely, most importantly,